JerseyShore.com. We're here at Paul Mitchell School, Jersey Shore in Brick, New Jersey. We're going to head inside and we're going to work with the students on filming a haircut, color, style, the whole entire package. I hope you guys enjoy this video. And yeah, let's go have some fun.
I'm itching, feeling sore. It's hard to deal with just what you did yesterday. I wonder what's in store.
All right, guys, so this is Matt Beck from FreeSalonEducation.com, and I'm very excited for this video. We went to Jersey Shore, obviously, and we filmed. This is going to be a full-through step-by-step haircut. We're going to do a graduated, basically an A-line bob on curly hair. And the thing I like about this, we wanted to go to the school because we wanted to find people that were willing and open, and also, you know, that wanted to learn as well and wanted to learn filming and all of that. So we got some students involved. So I'm going to walk you guys through the haircut. What we did, we're going to go through the style breakdown, the color breakdown, and how they did that as well. So starting off here in the back, we started by cutting our guideline. And what you notice is I'm not holding the hair in my hand because I don't want to create a lot of tension. She's got curly hair. It's going to live curly anyways. So why would I pull it down on my hands? That's not how it's naturally going to live. So I comb it down. I even give it a little bit of movement with my hand to let it spring up and become almost in its natural state. And then I cut my baseline. Now I cut that at a 0-degree angle, which basically, if you look at the curve of the head, is going to create almost a 45-degree angle anyways because of the way that the occipital bone curves and moves. So we're working diagonal forward sectioning. I cut that baseline first. Now I'm going to move in with elevation. So we got a few different camera angles here, so hopefully you guys can get a really good look at what we're doing. But what I want to show here is how that head shape is angled. So I'm going to pull out what I cut at a 0-degree angle right here to show you that it's really at a 45-degree if you hold it out. So you can see that that angle that it creates, even though I cut it right at the neck, it's still a 45-degree angle. So I don't need to elevate any of that. If I do that, I'm going to create a weird tail in the back of the head that I don't want. So now, as I work through the elevation, I'm going to work on a higher elevation because the head starts to curve away. So you can see that angle that I'm working at. And right here, I'm basically telling them that if I were to hold that hair at a 45-degree angle the entire time, or what we consider a 45-degree angle, it would basically turn into a 0-degree angle as the head curves away. So now we're going to work, still keeping it at a little bit higher elevation, because with curly hair, you don't need that much graduation. You don't need a really strong angle that's going to build up a lot of weight. It's going to happen anyways, and it's going to shoot up because of the springiness of curly hair anyways. So my elevation is probably at about a 45-degree angle at this point. Looking at it, it would be really high if it was 90 degrees. So we're about at midpoint there. So holding it out, 45-degree angle, and just cutting palm to palm, combing all of that new hair. So all the new hair is going towards the center of the head, towards my guideline. And that's really the key. You'll also notice that I'm using a YS Park 332 comb, which is a really wide tooth comb. And the reason for that is she's got curly hair. Why would I want to use a tight tension comb on curly hair? A lot of classes that I've taught at, the hairdressers have their favorite comb. And you can't just have one comb for everything. You need a comb that fits the situation. And the 332 comb I like on curly hair. So we're still working palm to palm, following that guideline. Now, we were traveling slightly, and now everything is over-directed straight back. Because really what I want to do is once I hit that corner of the head, I want to push that weight forward, which is going to create our A-line feel. It's going to push more of that weight forward. So you can see how it drops down a bit in there. I'm just checking the way that the hair falls. I think with curly hair, it's a lot about the feel. And what we're trying to do is we want to expand that shape. So I'm just kind of tossing it around. And then we'll go through, I'm cleaning up a little bit of the neck hair. Sometimes that's a nervous habit. I mean, it doesn't need to happen yet. I'm going to do it at the end again. But, you know, we all have our habits. So these are things that when you start editing a video, you notice about yourself. But so still working at 90 degrees. I let a little bit more hair down, working vertically at this point. Still straight back, but not straight out. So still, again, at that 45-degree angle. Straight out would be straight up from the crown, and we're working about midway down. So vertically, using the previous section as my guide, traveling guide still. I'm not over-directing it all the way back. Maybe we'll get an angle in there so you can see that, but I'm not over-directing it to the very center back, because if I did that, I'd push way too much weight to the side of the head, and I don't want to do that. So over-direct, straight back. Watch the consistency, and this is what I look for when I watch myself cutting hair, is I'm looking for the consistency of my elevation. So right here, I'm working around the round of the head. I don't want to elevate it. The top section is going to be elevated straight out, so I look at consistency with that. Then I drop my elevation as I work the round of the head because the angle of the head changes. So I don't want to create too much weight dropping down towards her ear. Now we're going to go through and cross-check, basically working diagonal back sections. Just make sure that you shift that finger angle so it's horizontal with the neckline in the back and the nape of the neck. And just dusting the ends. I'm looking for inconsistency in my elevation. The key to this cross-checking is just to make sure that I'm taking small sections, because if you take large sections, what's going to happen is you're going to pull it too far from where it was originally in the cut, and you're going to change the shape of the haircut. So just make sure that you take small sections and it comes straight out from the head just like you cut it in the other direction, because cross-checking is really just checking both angles to make sure that you have consistency. And there we go. So then when you can see, the thing about curly hair that's so great, a lot of people like to cut a ton of texture in curly hair, which is fine at the end. You can add some texture and lighten it up. But when you create structure in curly hair, it's one of the coolest things, because you can actually, it's my favorite thing to cut is curly hair, because you see the shape actually happen. You see it expand out. And that's awesome. You can't see that on fine, thin, low, density. Well, there we go. It hit me. It's been a long day. But low density hair, you can't see that shape happen. So curly hair is just so cool in the way that it expands. So you want to create a precise haircut, because then you can actually see that shape forming. Now the difference here is my fingers are pointing down. The reason they're pointing down is I want to stay consistent with my combing. We've talked about this in past haircuts that I've done. If you haven't seen them, make sure you're subscribing to our channel on YouTube, because we have a lot of haircuts. We're producing 4 to 5 videos a week with free education. But you just want to stay consistent with the combing. Make sure that you comb that hair towards your guideline. You're never combing your guideline towards the new hair. Still working vertical. And the toughest part about this section here is that my elbow is in the air. So if my elbow's in the air, it's going to want to fall down. And so it's really hard to stay consistent this way. So you just want to make sure you're focused on that the entire time. I mean, we're not always going to be super comfortable cutting hair, but you want to try to have your hand and your arm and your body position as comfortable as possible. So you can see my elevation dropped at the beginning because of the head shape, and then as I work my way up the head, then my elevation gets a little bit higher. The thing I loved about being at Paul Mitchell School, Jersey Shore, was that first off, they have students that are just love learning, and they were totally willing to be there. They were loving what we were doing, so it was really cool to experience it with them and get them involved. They did the color for us. They helped with the styling. We showed them how we set up everything when we film, and it was just really fun. It was a cool experience to be with them and doing that. So, this is the place that we would go to find new hires and new talent for the industry. So make sure that you get involved in getting in the school. This is something we didn't obviously get paid to go in there, but we wanted to go in there and share what we're doing, and it inspires the students, and we get to meet them, and you get to find out who's going to work great in your salon. So it's a really cool thing to do, and do it in your area and get involved with the students. Find what makes you guys different as a salon and go in there and share it. So there you go. And then we're going to go through, we're going to cross-check again. This is the GoPro angle. You can see when we do the wider shot, you can see there's a camera on my chest. And sometimes we wear it on our head. We're trying it in all different ways. So just, you can see this is a good shot of how we're cross-checking. Really small sections. Try not to pull all of that old hair with me. So I take this small section and over-direct it back. And keeping that elevation high, because if you looked at that vertically, I would be elevating that whole section up. So I don't want to hold it down at the bottom, and that's what I'm explaining to them now. I wouldn't want to hold that all down because it would change the whole entire haircut. That's not how I cut it. So just make sure as you work through there and you're cross-checking that you're keeping that elevation high and right off of the head that way. In the last section, making sure I'm just straight back, straight off the head. I don't want to cut off that corner. I want to create that and push that weight forward. And that's what really makes this haircut stand out, especially on curly hair. I mean, we just filmed a straight hair version of this type of haircut, a little more asymmetrical feel to it. But with this one, you want that buildup of curl around her face and to drop just below her cheekbone, and that's what's really going to bring this whole thing out. You don't want her to just have a big round shape on her head. You want it to drop and move and showcase, the features. So what I'm going to do is, again, I did not comb this down straight. I comb it down, and then I let the curl kind of expand up, and then I cut the line. We can always go in and clean that up later, but I want to just leave it there. And I also did not elevate it, because there's no reason to elevate it right now. I want to go through the top part there that we're going to work on next, the very top section. That's where we can create the lightness and all of that. But she doesn't have a really thick density of hair, so I want that curl to expand. And there you can see me shaking it out, letting that curl activate. And then as soon as the curl activates, then I'm going to go in and cut the line. I like this better than just holding it up, over-directing it back and pushing the weight forward, because I can determine what I want that line to look like instead of holding it back and hoping that it falls the way I want it to. Just clean it up a little bit more. This would be a good chance to look in your mirror and see if both sides are balanced the way that you would like them to be. And then just get your hands in it. I mean, curly hair is so fun to just watch it expand and build and become what you want it to be. So now we're going to let down the top. And the top is just really, we just built the shape. We've created everything. So now what I want to do is I'm going to separate the front and the back. So you can see that right at the high point, that apex right there. And I'm going to work, and I want to keep expanding that round shape in the back, and then I'm going to do something a little bit different with the front and collapse the top a little bit more in the front, because I don't want a lot of weight being shoved over. So we'll twist up the top. We're going to completely separate it and just, keep everything clean, organized as you're working through. Don't get too antsy to want to jump and do everything at once, because they're two separate things. As you look at the curve of the head and how it works, it's different. The back is different than the front. You're going to hold it differently. It's working differently. So eventually they will connect, but they're a different part of the head. The hair is going to lay in a different spot. So we separate the front and the back, and now I'm going to work in basically pie-shaped sections, but I'm going to over-direct them to that back left corner. So you'll see this. what I wanted to do was expand the heavy side. So if she's going to part on the left-hand side, I wanted to over direct everything to the left-hand side and just push that weight. Because I think with curly hair, sometimes we cut too many layers, and on the top it'll look a little flatter because of all the layering, and then around the side it starts to sort of expand. We collapse it a little bit too much on the top. So here you're going to see me combing with the round of the head, but over directing it all the way over, just to build up that weight on the heavy side. It's going to give it a little bit of an asymmetric feel, but not really, because the left side is light, airy, so it's going to expand on its own. And then the heavy side sometimes falls a little flat because it's so heavy. So you want to add a little bit more layering to the left side and then the bulk to the right side. Still working vertically through there and over directing it. Stationary guide. And this will be the last section. Just grabbing it over directing all that hair to that stationary guide, pushing all that weight to the right side. There we go. And now we're going to work on the front. The cool thing about this experience was teaching a class at the same time. So we're filming this, and we had the 3 camera angles going, but there were students there, so we were teaching as well, which was really fun. So now I'm going to take a section out of the corner. So this is where she parts her hair. So I want to take a section from above the part, and I'm going to take a little bit of a section from below the part. And that's going to start my guideline for the front of the head. Also, the thing with our model Jessica here, who's also a student at the school, the one thing about her was that her head was a little bit flatter on top. So what we wanted to do, I wanted to create a little bit more bulk in the middle, like around the apex area, just to give it a little more roundness. And that's the thing with our guests. We all have different shape heads. I have a really flat head in the back. So I was just talking to the guys before. I want to create a little more bulk in the back of my head, you know. So you want to create an illusion of something that's not there. That's what a great haircut is. So when we look at here, I want to build up that weight right in the center. So my over direction is short around the forehead area, and it builds to a peak right around the apex. So the weight that I built up in the back section, I cut short to long in the back, and now I'm cutting short to long in the front to create that peak right where the top of my knuckles are there. And then everything is again being over directed to right over top of the parting. So we're creating a side angled kind of fringe with curly hair, and also removing a lot of bulk and placing it on the apex. So everything that we're doing has a purpose, and that's really what you want to make sure you're focused on when you're cutting hair, is putting weight where you need it and removing it where you don't need it. Sounds simple, but as long as you understand head shape, and that was the thing that clicked for me, a few years ago cutting hair, was just I understood how to create a shape, or like a triangle or a square shape on the head. But what I didn't understand, and what clicked with me finally, was to put it with the head shape as well. So, combining all that stuff together and doing everything with a purpose. And there we go. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break down some of the other stuff, the styling, and then I'm going to come back in and finish up with the dry cut. So let's let Barrett go through the styling, and then we'll come back.
All right, guys, we are moving on to the finishing now. This is Barrett Stiltano from FreeSalonEducation.com, and this is our friend Taylor. And she came through and she helped me do a lot of the finishing. So I'm just going to have her go through and say what products we've used and how we achieved. We're going to start in the back. So if you could walk us through and tell me what we did in the back.
Sure. Well, first we started with Paul Mitchell Twirl Around. We rubbed it through the entire head, and we went with the curl pattern. So we kind of twirled our fingers in there, kind of just like worked it through every curl individually.
And then when we went in with the diffuser, we started, did you want to start in the back? Can you tell her?
In the back because she was pretty saturated. So we wanted to get this dry first.
Okay, and now the haircut that Matt went through, because I wanted to start in the back just to build that weight, because Matt went through and talked about a lot of the structure that we did with the haircut. So I think that helps with building the volume in the hair and building the structure of the curl back. So then we went through and we had her tilt. I'm just going to have her show you a little bit that we tilted her side to side, and then I'm going to have Taylor tell you why we actually did that with her.
So when we tilt her side to side, it kind of helps bring up that natural volume that she gets with the curl.
Okay, and then when we went side to side, the last thing we really had her do is flip forward. You really don't have to flip forward. I'm not going to give you whiplash. But we have the client or guest flip forward, and if they have a little bit longer hair, you can also have them stand. We just had her sit in the chair, flip her head forward, and that also
gave her volume up here.
And that's why just not touching the curl too much as we're diffusing it, kind of just gripping it at the root to get all that volume up there is what we really did. And then going through with a working spray really helped to build all the weight and the structure of the curl so that Matt could go in and do some finishing with some dry cutting. And then we finished it with a nice finishing spray. And that is our style for today. Thanks, guys.
All right, so cool. So that's the way that we styled it. Now that we have it finished, and you don't want to touch a lot of those curls like Barrett was saying, so now I can really get my hands in it. We've already got it styled, irons and everything. And the one thing that I don't think was passed along in that was that she did go through with a small wand iron and just define the curls. So I think that's important to say because this isn't just a diffused look. More effort goes into it than that. I think that was the one thing at hair shows is that, so much effort goes into making that hair look flawless, and then we come out and we're like, it's just this one product did all of this, and that's not the case. So, there was a wand involved, there was diffusing, sprays, all different stuff goes into this look. So we're just going through doing a tease cutting technique. I'm using my Blacksmith Fit Puffin dry cutting scissor, so it's a real smooth scissor in the dry hair. Just going through and just lightening up the top layer of curls. So nothing too fancy. I just like to create a little airiness, if that's a word, through the top of the hair, and yeah, just give it some movement in there. I remember when I was in beauty school, I was told that, I saw this really sleek, beautiful look from on a DVD, and my teacher was like, they go through with a flat iron, they use all these serums and all this stuff. And I'm like, well, people can do that at home. We can teach people to do this stuff. So, this is a look that's very easy to recreate. And I think if we show people to diffuse and then use a wand really quick, I don't think that that's too much to ask for our guests. So, but it gives it such a definition on all the curls. I'm going through cleaning up the neck hair. I just lift up some of the curls and go through, just flatten my scissor along the neckline. This is something, work on it. But if you have your steady blade that's not moving and you just work that along the neck and then you close it with the blade that you have in motion, it works really well. You don't have to use a clipper. I like to leave it a little natural. She's supposed to have some neck hair there. So just go through with your scissor and clean it up a bit. So now we're going to jump in, just finish it with a firm finishing spray, expand the curl out. It looks great. The color looks awesome. So Brian Hare is going to go through now, and he's going to break down the color technique that they did at the school. So here we go.
Hey guys, Brian Hare from FreeSalonEducation.com with my good friend Jess. And she was the creative genius behind this really cool color technique on our lovely model here. So I'm here to let her explain that to you guys. So, hi Jess. Great job. So why don't you walk us through a little bit of what you did?
We did a block coloring technique on her. From the apex forward, we did a cool red. And then we did a cool red on the occipital down as well.
The same color?
Yes. And then around the band of the hair, we did a red, the neutral red. And then right here on the sides, we did a block coloring with a red-orange.
So you have a cool, a neutral, and a warm red all in the one head?
Yes.
That's awesome. I mean, it looks great. You can definitely see the dimension throughout. Why did you choose to do one of each?
Just to give it some movement and some dimension and just to give it different colors, have some fun with it.
Well, I think you did a great job. It definitely translates well into this great angled haircut, and it explodes. Great choice with the block color because it really helps to show up on the curl. So I think you did a fantastic job, and don't be surprised if I steal this from you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Drea Bolin with FreeSalonEducation.com, and I'm here with Alana to break down her makeup technique that she used today on our lovely model.
Hi. So I really wanted to play out her warmth in her hair color that she got and really feature that in her makeup application. I really incorporated the copper red tones and kind of a coral cheek color, and the contour and highlight really brings out her facial features and really plays up the whole hairstyle and brings it all together.
Well, you did a great job. The model looks stunning, and back to you.
I'm itching, feeling sore. It's hard to deal with just what you did yesterday. I wonder what's in store. 'Cause it's a long way down in this abyss.
So I just want to say thank you to Paul Mitchell, the School of Jersey Shore, and make sure that you guys subscribe to us on YouTube right below. So hit the subscribe button. We have lots of videos for hairstylists coming up, and make sure you check out Drake City for this awesome song. We'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks.